Produced in high definition by Fox 50. Viewer discretion is advised. Help identify the women who discarded their own babies like trash. NC Wanted in high definition starts now.
Good evening, I'm Gerald Owens. Welcome to this special edition of NC Wanted. It's a heartbreaking reality, but from 1999 to 2005, our state documented 24 cases of newborns discarded in public areas and left to die. Many of these cases happened in rural areas like this. And while beautiful, this natural setting provides a convenient cover for those who would do harm to the most defenseless victim. Tonight, we'll look into 4 of these cases, including the legendary unsolved murder of baby Michael in Cumberland County. In 1999, authorities discovered his body along a lonely country road. He'd been murdered, then tossed out of a moving car. Authorities were so taken by this tragedy, they named him Michael after the patron saint of law enforcement. To this day, investigators have hope that someone will come forward about this case. Then later, we'll shed light on North Carolina's safe surrender law, which gives mothers up to 7 days to hand over their babies to responsible adults without legal repercussions. Now, let's get started on tonight's first 3 cases. February 9th, 2006. Sanitation workers in Goldsboro are making their rounds at a sewer lift station. In the process of picking up debris, they come across a devastating sight. It's the decomposed body of a baby girl, born 3 months premature and discarded with the umbilical cord still attached. The workers contact authorities right away. Medical experts are unable to determine the baby's race or if she was born dead or alive, but they do know the mother delivered this premature baby without medical assistance. Fast forward 1 year to the town of Warsaw in Duplin County. About 1 p.m. on February 6, 2007, a woman and her boyfriend are checking out a friend's abandoned home when they stumble upon a lifeless baby boy wrapped in a blanket lying on a doorstep behind the house. Authorities determined the baby is either Caucasian, Hispanic, or a combination of both. They confirmed the newborn was not delivered at a hospital and find evidence the baby was alive when he was abandoned. But with no food or milk and temperatures dipping below freezing, they conclude the infant died slowly right there on the doorstep. The Duplin County community unofficially names this baby Daniel Joseph. Shockingly, the very next day, police respond to yet another baby doe case. This time it's in Rocky Mount. February 7th, 2007, a homeless man is fishing through a dumpster behind a Food Lion when he makes the tragic discovery. He finds the naked, lifeless body of a full-term 7.5-pound Caucasian boy. Horrified, the man runs into the grocery store to notify workers who call 911. Investigators respond and sift through the crime scene. They uncover a key piece of evidence that provides some clues. It's a yellow plastic Cheetos bucket that was used to cover the baby's body. Now, police say it's been a few years since this type of bucket was available in stores, and they are certain it was never available in Rocky Mount. This leads them to believe the baby was likely born in another city and driven to Rocky Mount for disposal. Authorities believe this baby doe was born at home. They also think he was alive for a day or two before he was murdered, then discarded. The case is now a homicide investigation, and the Rocky Mount community names this child Baby John Nash. There's a $10,000 reward for information leading to an arrest in the Baby Nash case in Rocky Mount. If you have information about any of these cases, call us right now, toll-free at 1-866-43-WANTED, or log on to our website at ncwanted.com. Your identity will be kept confidential.
Coming up, a baby's lost life galvanizes an entire community.
It affected everybody because of the innocence of the baby.
I don't think of her as human, because I just cannot think of a mama being one myself doing that to their child.
Alone, but not forgotten, the story of baby Michael. Tonight's NC Mystery is next.
Welcome back to this special edition of NC Wanted. Tonight we're devoting our entire show to cases involving babies who were murdered soon after birth, then discarded with no regard for their innocent lives. This next case made such an impact in Cumberland County, it's become an inspirational legend. In 1999, sheriff's deputies responded to the scene of a lifeless baby, killed less than 24 hours after birth. It was a heartless crime that shocked the Fayetteville area and galvanize the entire community.
I just cannot think of a mama being one myself doing that to their child.
On the night of March 2nd, 1999, along this stretch of road near Fayetteville, someone does the unthinkable to an infant only hours old.
That's one of the worst cases, one of the worst things that's ever affected me.
A secret childbirth is hidden by night. Daylight would reveal a brutal murder.
About 2 o'clock that afternoon, I heard the radio traffic of a baby found on the side of the road on Kennedy Pond Road. At first, I wasn't sure that I heard what I heard. So I contacted dispatch again to confirm, did I hear you right, a baby on the side of the road? And they said yes.
Just moments earlier, a soldier made a chilling discovery. He was looking for his aunt's house, but he found a crime scene instead. At first, he thought it was a doll, but it was a baby, half covered by a black plastic bag. It had been tossed out of a speeding car. It was too late for CPR, so the soldier did the only thing he could. He called 911.
You could see that the baby had, lack of a medical term, road rash. Looked like he was thrown from a moving vehicle.
With the clock ticking, the sheriff's office begins an investigation with virtually no clues.
We set up a checkpoint, and you just start stopping every car out there that travels that road where the crime occurred, where we found the baby. That generated a lot of leads. We were contacting women that were released from jail that were pregnant to see if they had their baby yet.
Because investigators have so few clues, they're left with little more than their imagination.
So I think possibly that there was panic, that there was a need to get rid of this evidence, the body, quickly. There was a county trash collection facility near there, that maybe that's where they were headed with the body. And then when they discovered it was closed, that would have taken their emotions and panic and fear of discovery to a much higher level.
Investigators resist the urge to draw conclusions and vow to keep an open mind. But they think they know one thing for sure: the mother is probably local.
Statistically, if you put a dot on the map where the crime occurred and do a 3-mile radius around that dot, is normally the comfort zone of the perpetrator.
Although they resist speculation, they find themselves shocked by the autopsy report in more ways than one.
I think the initial thought was that the child may have been thrown from the vehicle alive, and that there was an impact on the highway that would have caused the injuries and caused the death. Medical evidence shows that the child was dead at the time that it was thrown from the vehicle.
Now police seek more than a scared mother who abandoned her newborn on the side of the road. The person responsible for this act murdered a baby in cold blood and tossed him out of a car like trash.
In my mind, I have to think that she was drugged, she was high.
We were initially thinking that it is probably a prostitute or some crackhead from our 301 area, which is just, strip clubs and motels. But the autopsy showed no drugs and no alcohol in the baby's system. So the mother is not a drug addict. The first thing you got to do before you can do an investigation is identify the victim. After you identify the victim, you start performing victimology. You conduct a victim risk assessment. You start studying the victim to determine why somebody would want this person killed. You never go into an investigation saying who did it. You go into an investigation to determine why it was done, because the why will lead you to the who.
Determined to get to the bottom of this murder, the sheriff's office goes to the public and pleads for information. The media is flooded with pictures of the baby and the few clues investigators have in the case. The community's response is overwhelming.
We made posters and actually distributed these posters and flyers with trying to generate leads to every law enforcement agency. So we covered Cumberland and all the surrounding counties. Probably 5,000 or 6,000 posters that we distributed.
To help the community cope with such an unthinkable crime, a local church holds a funeral for the child and donates a plot for a proper burial.
I stand here today and can't explain why it had to happen or even how it happened, but we felt obligated. We felt a sense of need at that time, and we stepped up to bat and did what we felt would be our part.
Everybody was calling him Baby Doe, and I hated that. That is so insignificant. So I decided to name him Michael after Archangel Michael, who was also a patron saint of law enforcement, and the name stuck.
We took him in and we made him ours. So it gave us some sort of a closure, knowing that while in life he didn't have anything, you know, at least he had us and he had a proper burial.
A year passes, and as the community mourns, the sheriff's office struggles to piece together what happened that night. Then, reviewing evidence for the case, an investigator discovers a crucial clue that could break the case wide open. Just as investigators are losing hope of ever finding baby Michael's killer, they discover a tiny clue in 2000 that could solve this case.
It's a blood clot that was attached to the outside of the placenta. We're able to identify that as the blood of the mother.
The sample was entered into a national database maintained by the FBI. It includes more than 4 million DNA profiles, most from convicted felons, some gathered from crime scenes. Saliva samples were taken from more than 30 previous suspects. Not a single match. At the 2-year mark, the investigation is stalled when suddenly a woman walks into the sheriff's office and makes a startling admission.
We actually had a confession in the case, a possible mother.
We thought we had the case solved. One lead led us to a female, brought her downtown. She starts admitting that she was baby Michael's mother.
She was going through a divorce, was very upset with her husband, and her accusation was that she had the baby at home, that she went to the hospital, that her husband was then going to bring the baby shortly after she left, and he never showed up at the hospital.
Investigators start digging into this woman's past. They subpoena hospital records and begin searching for clues that may make sense of baby Michael's fate. But it's too perfect. Something is wrong.
We did some medical tests, got her medical records, and found out she couldn't give birth. It was medically impossible.
Since then, the case has remained stalled. Leads continue to trickle in since the confession. Someone calls with a tip or a rumor circulates in the jail, but time has made it clear that little remains in this case but hope.
This is someone that has a very, very hard conscience, or maybe no conscience at all.
There's good folk and there's bad folks. There's saved folks and lost folks. And, you know, it's been like that, and it'll always be like that until you die or I die or Jesus comes back to get us.
She needs to make it right with the man upstairs, because you cannot do that and expect to go through life.
So investigators wait for a heavy conscience to break down under the burden of such a long-kept, terrible secret. Because of the DNA profile, a single phone call could solve this case tomorrow.
All we need is one name to generate a lead that can solve this case. That's how close it is to being solved.
And there are those people that as they get older, things that they've done are so heavy on them that they come forward and say, I know about this.
Where would baby Michael be today? Would he be on the baseball field? Would he be playing soccer? Who would his friends be in school? In what direction could his life go? And how he could have maybe made a contribution, significant contribution to our society. So it was really just such a waste. The possibilities there are endless as to what baby Michael could have been one day.
Investigators tell us there's a reward of up to $6,000 for information leading to the identity of baby Michael's mother. Now, this case is significant because it's one of several baby doe cases that inspired the safe surrender law passed by the state legislature in 2001. Under this law, mothers have up to 7 days after they deliver to leave their newborn babies with a responsible adult, legally and anonymously, no questions asked. Every year in our state, an average of 2 newborns are killed or left to die. These helpless victims are thrown in dumpsters, tossed in woods, even discarded in landfills. Statistics show the risk of infant death is greatest when the baby is just born. To prevent this from becoming a trend, the state stepped in and took action. In 2001, North Carolina legislators passed the Safe Surrender Law, or Infant Homicide Prevention Act. Under this law, mothers have up to 7 days to legally and anonymously leave their child with a responsible adult and walk away, no questions asked. Last year, Michelle Dawn Richardson left her newborn in the bathroom stall of a McDonald's in Zebulon. The baby was wrapped in a blanket, the umbilical cord still attached. Richardson was sentenced to 5 years probation. Had she left the baby with an adult, she would not have faced criminal charges. The Safe Surrender Law is sometimes confused with the Safe Haven Law recognized in other states. This allows a mother to leave her newborn at a hospital, fire station, or police station. The Safe Surrender Law allows a mother to put the baby in the hands of a person rather than leaving it at one of these specified locations. Despite the law, the number of abandoned baby cases is staggering. From 1999 to 2005, there were 24 documented cases of newborn homicides in North Carolina. Since the statute was passed, only 2 babies have been successfully surrendered. Some legislators are concerned that people aren't taking advantage of the law because they don't know this alternative exists.
We're just very concerned that young people don't understand that there is an option, and I think we need to do some educating.
They're hoping public awareness campaigns and educating young people will help spread the word. Beginning in 2008, high schools across the state will be required to disseminate information about the Safe Surrender Law. Students in 9th through 12th grades will learn about the law and become familiar with how to legally and safely abandon a newborn. While some think this will foster more unplanned pregnancies, others believe saving just one life means the legislation is working. I sat down with Dr. Marcia Herman Giddens, an adjunct professor at UNC Chapel Hill, to talk about her research on child abandonment and get her thoughts on the concept of safe surrender. Dr. Marcia Herman Giddens, thank you for taking your time to be with us. You've done extensive research in intentional newborn deaths. Did you find anything that surprised you?
I think the biggest surprise was the mothers did not fit what the public perception was. These mothers were young teenage girls, single obviously, often from families that were strict, couldn't communicate with their parents, afraid to tell their parents they were pregnant. Young women that fit that profile only constituted about 1/4 of the mothers. The oldest mother in our study was 35 years old, and 20% of them were married.
Do you think the safe surrender law is a good law?
Especially in North Carolina, in my opinion, we have the best in the country. The reason is we do not require the mother, this woman who's just given birth, scared to death all by herself, to go to a hospital, fire department, or certain specified agencies to hand over a baby. We say you can just walk out on the street and hand the baby to any adult that looks like they're, in reasonable condition.
Dr. Herman Giddens, thank you very much for being with us to talk to us about this very important topic. When we come back, we'll recap tonight's cases. Welcome back to NC Wanted. Time now to recap tonight's cases. First, February 2006. The decomposed body of a premature baby girl is found at a sewer lift station in Goldsboro. Authorities are unable to determine the baby's race or whether she was born dead or alive. Next, just 1 year later, February of 2007 in Duplin County, a full-term baby boy is left alone on the back doorstep of an abandoned home in Warsaw. It's determined the baby died of exposure after 1 or 2 days in the bitter cold. The child was either Caucasian, Hispanic, or a mixture of both. Then, the very next day in Rocky Mount, a newborn Caucasian boy is found in a dumpster. The only clue police have is a yellow Cheetos bucket that was lying on top of his body. It's a significant clue because that type of Cheetos container was outdated and not available in Rocky Mount stores. It leads investigators to believe the parents may have driven in from another area just to dispose of the baby. And finally, the unsolved murder of baby Michael, a healthy, full-term boy born with thick, dark hair. After less than a day of life, he met a brutal end, smashed in the head and tossed from a moving car. To this day, baby Michael's short life provides long-term inspiration to citizens and law enforcement in the Cumberland County area. If you have any information about these cases, please call us right now at 1-866-43-WANTED or log on to our website at ncwanted.com. If you know something, it's time to do the right thing. Call us or log on to our website. And remember, you don't have to give us your identity. And if you're a woman in a desperate situation trying to hide your pregnancy or just need help, there is a better way. Remember, the safe surrender law allows a mother 7 days to hand over her child to a responsible adult. No questions asked and no legal repercussions. If you want to know more about safe surrender, log on to our website, ncwanted.com, and click on Sidebars. Together we can fight to protect the quality of life we hold dear in North Carolina. I'm Gerald Owens. Good night.